Greetings, pragmatic, reliable, hardworking Capricorn. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and now I'm going to do the April 2021 forecast for the sign of Capricorn. And I'm going to do a tarot reading, and I am going to talk about broad strokes of some of the planetary transits that are happening in the month of April. And I suggest that you watch the videos for your sun, moon, and rising to get the fullest scope of what to express in April, or just to see which resonates the most for you. People born at night often resonate with their moon sign even more than their sun sign. And then the rising, of course, is very specific and always good to check in with. So as we enter the month of April, Capricorn, we see the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So this has to do with a man who might be being impractical or irresponsible in some way, and covered by the Queen of Swords, who is a woman that is being very certain and decisive and, knows what she wants. So that is the beginning of the month, and we are crossed by the Ace of Swords, which looks like a new idea that's trying to emerge and take form in the month of April for you. And the basis, the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups is a beautiful card. It's about love, happiness, fulfillment, prosperity, family, the whole picture. What's leaving is the Seven of Cups, and this is a time of making some choices about the future. And what could come into being is the Five of Wands reversed. So this is diffusing a conflict around mid-month. This is showing up around the 13th through the 15th. And this is also around the time that Taurus enters Venus. And when Taurus enters Venus, it's entering your fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of children. It's also the house of creative projects, pleasures, joy, fun. It can be the house of like the nightlife and like gambling and parties and things like that. It means some different things on some different levels, but it's a house of joy. So anyway, any of those fifth house topics that I just described could be where this conflict is being diffused as Venus enters Taurus. And then just in general, while Venus is in Taurus in your fifth house, this is a highly creative time for you, and a very, time of a lot of pleasure, art, beauty, all the Venusian things, romance. Venus is at home in Taurus, and so Venus really thrives there and is able to do Venusian things without any limitations. And so a highly creative and or romantic and or joyous, fun period for Capricorn. And, also I didn't mention in the beginning of the month where we see this dynamic between the impractical man and the very certain and decisive woman, there is a kind of, Mercury, I'm seeing this dynamic go on the whole entire first week, but Mercury enters Aries on April 3rd. And when Mercury enters Aries, it's entering your fourth house of home. And so these topics, Mercury in Aries is very bold and blunt in communication. It's also very, can be argumentative or combative sometimes, but very kind of like opinionated and bold in expressing the opinion. And again, those fourth house topics could be, home, real estate, land, wealth, legacy, roots, the mother, the parents, the actual home that you live in now. So, and then I also meant to tell you that this Ten of Cups that we see, this is happening around the 10th through the 12th. And the new moon of Aries is on April 11th. And the new moon of Aries is also happening in your fourth house. So the fourth house topics are important to Capricorn in April. And again, like there are a few, there's a scale of topics that are in the fourth house. And for some Capricorns, it will be certain of these topics. And for other Capricorns, it will be others of these topics. And then for some Capricorns, you will be experiencing multiple at the same time. Because look here, everything is gathering in Aries. And so this is kind of like a focal point of the chart for you right now in this period. And so again, that can be the home, that can be the parents, it can be real estate, land, wealth, legacy, roots, ancestors. It can be the homeland even. So anyway, but this is a very joyous card. It looks like a completion that is, celebratory and very fulfilling. And let's see. So yeah, I wanted to take you a little bit because I was leaving out the transits as I was going through the tarot. But yeah, so what will come into being around mid-month, around the 16th through the 18th, there may be a delay or a postponement in something, a success or an achievement that you were waiting for, or something good that you're waiting for to come, or something, it's like you're looking into the horizon and it's coming. It just may not be on the timeline that you wanted. And your fears or insecurities, the star reversed. So this is just, this is similar. This has to do with just, whatever the main issue on your mind of late is that you're concerned or worried about, it's really just a test of faith for you. It's just an opportunity. This situation is going to work out. It's just an opportunity for you to turn it over, for you to trust the divine order, the divine plan. Also, this star reversed card corresponds with around the time period that Mercury and the Sun both move into Taurus on the 19th. And again, we were talking about the fifth house earlier. The fifth house, also a very active house for you during this time. And that is the house of creativity. It's the house of children for those of you who have children. It can be the house of pleasure, joy, fun. It can be the house of like nightlife kind of experiences like, casinos and parties and things like that. But it's a house of joy and creativity. And it can be the house of romance and affairs as well, like sex and that kind of stuff. So with Taurus, all the planets in Taurus moving in there, it could be a very creative time, also a very like sensual time. And Taurus trines Capricorn. And so, I think this is a good energy, even though you may be having some concerns or some fears or some insecurities around those topics. It's a great opportunity for you to employ kind of letting go and trusting, in the divine timing and the divine order of things. And others see you, the sun. So this is a card about happiness, enlightenment, joy, fulfillment. It's like maybe others see you as having it all, as being a bright spot in their life. It could be someone in particular who's looking at you this way. And the sun is, it's a really positive, happy card. And sometimes it can mean that like you're on vacation, literally, the sun can come up for that. And this is looking around the 22nd to the 24th. It's very prominent, but it's on the table all month. And then also I would mention that Mars is moving into Cancer on the, what day does Mars move into Cancer? Mars moves into Cancer on April 23rd. And when Mars moves into Cancer, it's moving into your house of relationships, romantic relationships, but it can also be like partnerships, like long-term, any partnerships, like a work partnership, or even it could be like any long-term one-on-one intimate relationship, like a therapist could even fall in your seventh house. And sometimes we look at the seventh house for lawsuits and quarrels too. But Mars moving into Cancer in that house could indicate some like passive aggressive, someone behaving in a passive aggressive way, or not letting their motivations be known in that area. And so that's something also to take a look at. But your positive feelings. So your positive feelings are the Five of Pentacles, and this is an interesting card. I think that your positive feelings have to do with charity, possibly, and maybe being in a position to help someone else in need, and in some way maybe you can provide some kind of spiritual and or financial comfort to another person at the end of the month, and you can offer this because you relate, because you have been there, because you know. And that is very powerful. And this is also around the full moon of Scorpio. And the full moon of Scorpio is happening in your 11th house of friends and business associates. And so this could be a friend, it could be a business associate. The 11th house is also the house of like groups and organizations, so this could have to do with that. And it also has to do with, it can have to do with like subcultures of any kind, you know? And so, yeah, the full moons illuminate, they bring things to light, and they can bring culminations. And then finally, you have the Hierophant as the outcome at the end of the month. And this is about a commitment. This is about commitments, values, morals. It could have to do with an institution that you are involved with, or a person who's affiliated with that institution, playing very prominently into the end of the month for you. And at this time also, Pluto goes retrograde in your sign, Capricorn. And this is interesting because it's the first planet going retrograde after we've had everything going forward for a while. And Pluto going retrograde is happening in your first house, which is the most personal house to you. It's the house of self, it's the house of health and the body and your decision-making processes, and you know what you look like, and your identity and your sense of self and all of these things. And so Pluto going retrograde, Pluto can bring up issues of like your willfulness. It can bring up issues of power and negotiating power dynamics. It can also bring up, you know, deep transformation. And it can bring up, you know, like kind of cathartic, like change in life. You know, sometimes Pluto can bring up kind of triangulation and communication. Pluto can also bring underworld topics or people around sometimes. So, however, I have to say, it looks positive for you with the Hierophant, but it does look like there will be some kinds of Plutonian topics that are coming to the surface at the end of the month, but you look very well equipped to deal with them. So that's it for the overview for Capricorn. I did want to say, as we hit the new moon of Aries on April 11th, new moons are incredibly rich and fertile soil to plant the seeds of intention that you want to manifest. And so I would suggest these fourth house topics for you: home, the parents, real estate, land, wealth, legacy. You know, make intentions around that, write them with clarity, light your candles, bring your flowers, you know, call in the ancestors, make a little altar. And that can be a very powerful time. And then Aries themes, of course, which is starting anything new, anything that you want to launch or begin. Great time at that new moon of Aries to set intentions. You are very powerfully supported by the cosmos at that time. So thank you so much for joining me, Capricorn. Have a wonderful, wonderful April. Please share this video with other Capricorns that you know. please follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole, where I will be continuing the conversation that I started here, and throughout the month I post on my feed and in stories like more specific details about the planetary transits as they're unfolding. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please hit the notification button, not budget. Of course, when I'm talking to Capricorns, I bring up budgets out of nowhere. Hit the notification button so you can be notified anytime I do a video and upload a new video. And just please have a wonderful April. Thank you for joining me, Capricorn.